Did you know that in 2026, thousands of travelers are being stopped at airports, even with what they believe is a valid California passport identity? Sounds impossible, right? But reports and travel data suggest that entry rules across multiple countries are changing faster than ever before. People are showing up confident, only to face unexpected questioning, delays, or even denied entry. So the real question is, are you actually protected when you travel anymore? What's even more shocking is that many of these restrictions are not clearly announced. Hidden checks, sudden visa updates, and stricter screening systems are quietly being rolled out worldwide, backed by new AI-driven border control systems and global security policies. And the scariest part? Most people have no idea these changes are happening until it's too late. In this video, we'll break down the 10 hidden reasons why your travel freedom could be at risk in 2026, and more importantly, how you can protect yourself before it's too late. Stay with us, because the last reason might completely change how you travel forever. Number 1. Hidden restrictions that are never publicly announced. Imagine landing in a new country, confident, prepared, documents in hand, and suddenly being told there's a rule you've never even heard of. This is the biggest travel trap of 2026, not the rules you know, but the ones you don't. Around the world, countries are quietly introducing unpublished entry restrictions, internal guidelines, and temporary enforcement policies that don't always appear on official websites. That means even if you double-check everything before your flight, you could still face unexpected problems at the border. Experts studying global mobility trends have found that many border agencies now rely on internal risk assessment systems rather than public rulebooks. These systems consider factors like your travel history, purpose of visit, and even patterns that seem unusual to automated screening tools. The result? Two travelers with the same documents can have completely different experiences. One walks through smoothly, while the other is pulled aside for questioning or even denied entry. It's unpredictable, and that's what makes it dangerous. What makes this even more alarming is how fast these hidden restrictions can change. A policy introduced just days ago might already be active, even if it hasn't been officially announced yet. This creates a gap between what travelers think is required and what is actually enforced. In 2026, travel is no longer just about having the right passport, it's about staying ahead of invisible rules. So what can you do? Always cross-check multiple sources, read recent traveler experiences, and stay updated right until your departure day. Because in today's world, the difference between a smooth journey and being stopped at the airport often comes down to what others don't tell you. Number 2. Sudden visa rule changes that happen overnight. You might think once your visa is approved, you're completely safe, but in 2026, that assumption can cost you your entire trip. One of the fastest-growing problems travelers are facing is last-minute visa rule changes that happen with little to no warning. Governments can update entry conditions overnight due to security concerns, political shifts, or economic pressures, and these changes can take effect immediately, sometimes even before official websites are updated. Imagine this: you apply for your visa weeks in advance, double-check every requirement, and board your flight with full confidence. But when you land, you're told that a new document is required, or that your visa category no longer qualifies under updated entry rules. This isn't rare anymore. Travel analysts have observed a sharp rise in these real-time policy updates, where border officers enforce rules that travelers were never clearly informed about. What's even more frustrating is that these changes don't always make headlines. They often appear as small internal updates or temporary restrictions that are only visible to immigration systems, not the public. This creates a dangerous situation where travelers rely on outdated information, thinking they've done everything right, only to face unexpected delays, questioning, or outright denial at the airport. So how do you protect yourself? Don't rely on a single source. Always check official embassy sites, airline updates, and recent traveler reports just hours before your flight. Consider contacting the embassy directly if your destination is known for strict entry rules. In today's travel environment, staying informed until the very last moment isn't optional, it's essential. Number 3. AI-powered border screening is judging you before you land. What if your trip was being evaluated before you even step off the plane? In 2026, this is no longer a theory, it's reality. Many countries are now using AI-powered border screening systems that analyze passengers in advance using data from airlines, travel history, and security databases. This means decisions about your entry can begin hours before you arrive, without you even knowing it. These systems look at patterns: how often you travel, where you've been, how long you stayed, and even whether your travel behavior seems unusual. If something doesn't match their expectations, you can be flagged as a potential risk, even if you've done nothing wrong. Studies in modern border security show that automated systems are becoming more influential than human judgment, making travel decisions faster, but also more unpredictable. Here's the scary part: once you're flagged, your experience at the airport changes completely. You may face long interrogations, secondary inspections, or sudden entry denial. And the worst thing? There's usually no clear explanation. You're left confused, frustrated, and stuck in a situation you never saw coming. This shift means your travel freedom is no longer just about documents. It's about how your data profile is interpreted by machines. In simple terms, your travel behavior becomes your identity. So what can you do? Keep your travel history consistent, avoid suspicious patterns, and always ensure your information matches across bookings and documents. Because in 2026, it's not just the officer at the desk deciding your fate. It's the algorithm behind the system. Number 4. Your social media can now affect your entry. It might sound unbelievable, but in 2026, what you post online can directly impact whether you're allowed into another country. Border authorities in several regions are quietly expanding their checks to include social media activity, using it as part of their risk assessment process. That means your tweets, comments, likes, and even old posts can be reviewed to understand your intentions before granting entry. This isn't just speculation. Policy discussions and security studies have shown a growing trend toward digital background screening. Authorities are looking for anything that might raise concerns, such as controversial opinions, inconsistent travel purposes, or connections that seem suspicious. Even something taken out of context can trigger extra questioning at the airport. Imagine arriving at your destination, excited and ready, only to be asked about something you posted months, or even years, ago. Suddenly, your trip turns into an interrogation. In some reported cases, travelers have faced delays, device checks, and even denial of entry based on their digital footprint. And the most alarming part? There are often no clear guidelines on what is considered acceptable. This creates a new kind of travel risk, one that follows you everywhere, silently. Your online presence is no longer just personal. It's part of your global identity. So what can you do? Review your public profiles, remove or archive sensitive content, and ensure your online activity aligns with your stated travel purpose. Because in today's world, your passport isn't the only thing being checked. Your digital life is being scanned too. Number 5. Financial proof checks are becoming strict and unexpected. In 2026, it's no longer enough to just carry your passport and visa. Many countries now want proof that you can financially survive your entire stay. And not just basic proof. We're talking about detailed checks like recent bank statements, credit limits, hotel bookings, and even return tickets. If anything looks unclear or insufficient, you could face serious trouble at the border. What's changing is how aggressively these checks are being enforced. Travel and migration studies show that countries dealing with economic pressure are tightening entry rules to prevent visitors from becoming a financial burden. This means border officers are now trained to quickly assess whether you have enough funds, not just to enter, but to comfortably sustain your trip. And if your financial situation raises even a small doubt, you might be pulled aside for questioning. Imagine standing at immigration, confident and relaxed, when suddenly you're asked to show your bank balance. If your account doesn't meet their expectations, or if your documents don't clearly match your travel plan, you could face delays, additional screening, or even denied entry. And here's the catch: the exact amount required is often not publicly specified, making it even harder to prepare. So how do you stay safe? Always carry printed and digital proof of funds, including recent statements and backup payment options. Make sure your bookings and travel plans match your financial profile. Because in 2026, your ability to travel freely isn't just about permission, it's about proving you can afford every step of the journey. Number 6. Health checks and vaccination rules are quietly returning. Just when the world thought travel health restrictions were over, 2026 is bringing them back, but this time, in a more quiet and unpredictable way. Many countries are reintroducing health screenings, vaccination requirements, and medical declarations, often with little warning. These aren't always announced loudly, which means travelers can easily miss them until it's too late. Global health monitoring reports show that governments are now taking a rapid response approach. If a new variant or health concern appears, entry rules can change instantly. This might include mandatory health forms, proof of recent vaccinations, or even on-arrival testing. And if you don't meet the updated criteria, you could be stopped right at the border, no matter how prepared you thought you were. Picture this: you land after a long flight, tired but excited, and suddenly you're asked for a health document you didn't know existed. Now you're stuck in a line, facing delays, stress, and uncertainty. In some cases, travelers have even been denied entry or forced into quarantine, simply because they weren't aware of the latest requirement. What makes this even more challenging is that these rules vary from country to country, and they can change within days. That's why relying on old information is one of the biggest mistakes travelers make today. In 2026, staying safe means staying updated until the very last minute. So what should you do? Always carry your latest vaccination records, check for health declarations before departure, and monitor updates from reliable sources. Because now, your health status is not just personal, it's a key factor in whether you're allowed to enter at all. If this opened your eyes, comment "Stay health ready" below. We want to hear from you. We put real effort into keeping you informed, so subscribe now. One click can keep your travels stress-free. Number 7. Dual citizenship can trigger unexpected problems. Having dual citizenship might seem like a powerful advantage, but in 2026, it can actually create serious complications at the border. Many countries are now paying closer attention to travelers who hold multiple national identities, and in some cases, this raises questions about loyalty, legal status, or travel intent. What used to be a benefit is slowly turning into a hidden risk. Border control systems are becoming more advanced, and they can now easily detect if you're traveling under one passport while holding another. If there's any mismatch between your documents, visa status, or travel history, it can lead to delays, extra questioning, or even entry denial. Some countries require you to enter using a specific passport, and failing to follow that rule, even unknowingly, can cause immediate problems. Imagine arriving at immigration and being asked, "Do you hold another nationality?" If your answer doesn't align perfectly with your documentation, the situation can escalate quickly. Travelers have reported being pulled aside for long interviews, where officials try to understand which passport applies to their visit. In some cases, people have even been told they used the wrong passport, resulting in unexpected complications. What makes this issue even more confusing is that rules vary widely between countries. One nation might allow flexibility, while another enforces strict policies without clearly explaining them. This creates a dangerous gap where travelers assume they're fine, until they're not. So how do you stay safe? Always research the entry requirements for dual citizens, carry both passports when necessary, and ensure your visa aligns with the document you're using. Because in 2026, your identity isn't just about who you are, it's about which version of you the system recognizes. Number 8. Your travel history can now work against you. In 2026, your past trips are no longer just memories, they've become part of a digital profile that follows you everywhere. Border systems are now designed to analyze your complete travel history, looking for patterns that might seem unusual or risky. This means where you've been, how often you travel, and even how long you stayed can influence whether you're allowed into your next destination. What's changing is the level of detail being tracked. Advanced systems now connect airline data, visa records, and entry logs to build a behavioral pattern for each traveler. If your travel history doesn't fit what the system expects, like frequent short trips, visits to certain regions, or inconsistent travel purposes, you could be flagged for extra screening. And the worst part? You may never know exactly what triggered it. Imagine arriving at immigration, only to be questioned about a trip you took years ago. Suddenly, you're asked why you stayed longer than expected, or why you visited multiple countries in a short time. Even if everything was legal, the system might still see it as suspicious behavior, leading to delays, stress, or deeper investigations. This shift means your travel freedom is no longer judged in the moment, it's based on your entire history over time. One unusual trip can affect future journeys in ways you never anticipated. It's a silent evaluation that happens behind the scenes. So what can you do? Keep your travel patterns consistent, avoid unnecessary visa overstays, and make sure your reasons for travel are always clear and documented. Because in 2026, It's not just about where you're going, it's about where you've been and how it looks to the system. Number 9. Political tensions can instantly change your travel status. In 2026, your travel experience isn't just shaped by rules, it's influenced by global politics happening in real time. Diplomatic tensions between countries can lead to sudden changes in entry policies, stricter screenings, or even temporary bans on certain travelers. And the most alarming part? These changes can happen overnight, without giving travelers enough time to adjust their plans. International relations studies show that when tensions rise between nations, border control becomes more cautious. Travelers from specific regions, or even those who have recently visited certain countries, may face extra scrutiny. This doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, but in times of uncertainty, governments often tighten their security to minimize perceived risks. Imagine booking your trip months in advance, everything planned perfectly, and just days before departure, a political situation changes. Suddenly, you're facing new entry restrictions, longer questioning, or unexpected delays at the airport. In some cases, travelers have even been turned back simply because of evolving diplomatic issues beyond their control. What makes this situation even more challenging is how unpredictable it is. Political decisions are complex, and their effects on travel can spread quickly across multiple countries. This creates a travel environment where stability can't always be guaranteed, no matter how well you prepare. So how do you stay safe? Always stay informed about international news related to your destination, avoid regions with rising tensions, and have a backup plan in case conditions change suddenly. Because in 2026, your passport alone doesn't define your journey. Global politics can rewrite your travel plans in an instant. Number 10. Overstay penalties are now harsh and long-term. In 2026, overstaying your visa, even by a small margin, is no longer a minor mistake. It has become one of the most serious travel risks, with consequences that can follow you for years. Countries are now using advanced entry-exit tracking systems that record exactly when you arrive and leave. This means there's almost no room for error, and even a short overstay can trigger automatic penalties. What's changed is the severity of these consequences. In the past, you might have faced a small fine or a warning. But now, many countries impose long-term bans, visa rejections, or restrictions that can block your future travel plans completely. Immigration systems are interconnected more than ever, meaning one overstay in a single country can impact your ability to enter other countries as well. Imagine this: your trip goes slightly off schedule, maybe your flight gets delayed or you miscalculate your visa days by just 1 or 2 days. You think it's not a big deal, but when you try to travel again, you suddenly face visa denials or heavy questioning. That's because your record has already been flagged in the system. What makes this even more dangerous is that many travelers don't actively track their allowed stay. They rely on memory or rough estimates, which can easily lead to mistakes. In today's travel environment, that's a risk you simply can't afford to take. So how do you stay safe? Always track your visa duration carefully, use reminders or apps, and plan your exit well before your allowed stay expires. Because in 2026, one small mistake doesn't just end your trip, it can damage your entire travel future. If this made you more cautious, comment "No mistakes" below. We want to see who's paying attention. We put serious effort into creating these videos, so subscribe now. It's just one click, but it protects your future travels. As we've seen, travel in 2026 is no longer as simple as booking a flight and showing your passport. The rules have changed, and more importantly, the way those rules are enforced has completely evolved. From AI-powered screening systems to hidden restrictions, from social media checks to financial proof demands, every step of your journey is now being carefully evaluated. And the reality is, most travelers are still operating with an outdated mindset, thinking things work the way they used to. What makes this situation truly dangerous is the uncertainty. It's not just about following clear rules anymore. It's about navigating a system where decisions can be influenced by data, patterns, and factors you may not even be aware of. You could do everything right on paper, and still face delays or questioning because of something beyond your control. That's why being informed is no longer optional. It's your strongest protection. But here's the good news. Once you understand these risks, you gain the power to stay ahead. By keeping your documents updated, checking multiple sources before traveling, maintaining a clean travel record, and being mindful of your digital presence, you can avoid most of these traps. Preparation is no longer just helpful, it's essential. So before your next trip, take a moment and ask yourself, are you truly ready for the realities of travel in 2026? Because the difference between a smooth journey and a stressful experience often comes down to what you know before you leave. Stay aware, stay prepared, and most importantly, travel smart.